In this video, we're going to install WordPress using one of the many what's called one-click installation methods. Now, while there is a few more than just one click involved, you will see just how easy this method is in just a second. Now, before we get started in the WordPress creation process, I'd suggest that we first get our ducks in a row by creating a desktop folder to keep all the files dealing with our new WordPress site in. Files like our login details, images, future content, and whatever else you can think of that will have anything to do with this site can go into this particular folder. The alternative is that 6 months or a year from now, you're going to spend several minutes or hours looking for your login credentials or those expensive header images you bought for this site or your backup files, and you're going to hear my voice whispering in the background, "I told you so." So avoid the headaches and the hassles. Just spend a few minutes now, create that desktop folder, and you'll be in good shape down the line when you really need it. This so-called one-click method requires that you have access to a program called Fantastico. Now, there's a few other programs out there as well, like Softaculous, for example, but I'm going to demonstrate this using Fantastico because most cPanel control panels have at least Fantastico. Now, I've already logged into my cPanel account, and you want to scroll down until you come to the Software Services panel and click on the blue smiley face. That's the Fantastico Deluxe, and there's that Softaculous I was referring to. But click on Fantastico Deluxe. That opens up Fantastico Deluxe. And over here in the left column, you want to click on the link that says WordPress. Now, I already have a website created for the root directory, so I need to create another one in this demo in a subdirectory. No problem. I'll show you how to do that right now. Click on New Installation. I already have one in the main directory or the root directory. Now I need to put in a name of the subdirectory here, but this subdirectory cannot currently be in existence. Just like it says right here, this installation process will actually create that subdirectory for me. So since my WordPress site's theme is going to be on dog training, I'm going to go ahead and type in dog. And moving along here, here's where we want to put in our administrator username and password. You really don't want to have these guys guessable at all. We're going to make this hard for people to figure out what they are because these are the keys to the castle. So number one, do not put admin in here as your administrator username. And for the password, do not put something guessable like 1, 2, 3, 4. Make this a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, those special characters you find at the top of your keyboard. Now I've already got my little text document over here to the side that I've already created my username and my password. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste these guys in there. As you can see here, the password consists of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and some of those special characters. Ideally, no less than 8 characters. Better if you have 12 or more characters. Now, the admin nickname, email address, site name, description can all be done later on, but right here's a good spot to put them in now. And since this theme is going to be dog training related, I'm going to go ahead and reflect that here. Now, under the administrator email, you want to make sure that this email, number one, exists, and number two, is monitored by you, because this is the email that your visitors are going to be using to contact you at. And it could be something important like, hey, where do I go to give you money? And once you've got all this stuff filled out, go ahead and click on Install WordPress. And you may want to make a note of this. This is your WordPress site's database. And this is the URL to get to your WordPress site. As you can see here, it's got the dog subdirectory. And click on Finish Installation. That's step 2 of 3. One last time for you to copy your username and your password if you haven't done so already. And we're done. Now we're going to go ahead and click on this link here to go to the admin area. So have your username and password handy to log in. Now at this point, our WordPress site is installed and up and running. Not much to it, but it is there. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the back end or the administrator area while we're here. And this is it. And if we come up here to the top left corner and hover over the name of the site and then left click on Visit Site, this will take us to our WordPress site. This is how you use the one-click installation method to install your WordPress site. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. In this video, we're going to install WordPress manually, which does take a little bit longer than the so-called instant methods, but there are more security measures built into this method, and this way you're always going to be installing the most recent version of WordPress. But first, to keep things organized, go ahead and create a folder on your desktop relating to this WordPress site, name it whatever you want. Inside this folder, you should keep things like your images, your text or spreadsheet documents that contain the login credentials, your backups, anything related to this particular WordPress site. You should have one place on your computer to go to find all those goodies. Okay, that's out of the way. Now, there's basically 4 things we're going to do to create our WordPress site. We're going to go to wordpress.org and download the most recent installation files. Then number 2, we're going to unzip those files and upload them to our server. Now at this point, I need to assume that you've already got a domain name and a web hosting service. And you should also determine at this point, are you going to be uploading or installing WordPress on your root directory or on a subdirectory? Meaning, whenever you type in the URL to your WordPress site, is it going to be mydomain.com? Boom, there's your WordPress site. Or is it going to be in a subdirectory where you type in mydomain.com/blog? Either way you want to do it is totally fine because the installation process is exactly the same. It's just where are you going to upload these files to? Number 3, we're going to build a database. And number 4, we're going to add our database to our WordPress site. And that's basically it. So let's go ahead and get to work. Now I've already taken the liberty of going to wordpress.org and downloading the most recent installation files. And I want to point out that in a zipped up format, it's just a little bit over 6 megabytes. But whenever we uncompress those, as you can see as I hover over this, it's almost 17 megabytes. And most every installation process recommends that you upload these files here. So I open that up. And this will take twice as long than if you were to upload a single zip file. But if you're going to do that fast way, as I'm about to show you, you have to send the right zip file. So you cannot send the zip file that you downloaded from wordpress.org. That's not going to work. So first, unzip them. And I do that in my Windows machine by right-clicking and then left-clicking on Extract All. Navigate to the location on my computer where I want those files to be extracted to. Click on Extract and we're good. And then you come up with something like this. Then open that folder and expose all the files. Then select the top file or folder in this case. Hold the Shift key down on your keyboard, select the bottom file, and that selects all the files. And then just pick one of these files in here, it does not matter, and then right-click and then compress, or in my case, send to compressed folder. It'll zip all these guys up into the one file right here, and that's what I'm going to upload to my server. But first I want to point out that if you click on this README file, it opens up in your browser, and this gives you some more installation tips, updating tips, and so on. So when you get a chance, check that out. Now we head over to our file manager in our cPanel control panel and upload that zip file. Click on Upload, click on Choose File, navigate to the location of that zip file we just created, select that, click on Open, and it's going to begin the upload process. And while it's doing that, I'm going to come on back over here to cPanel and create our database. So scroll on down till you get to the Databases panel, click on MySQL Databases, and if I'm going too fast for you, well, that's what the pause button's for. Now we want to create our database here, create a user here, and then tie the two together down here. And I'll get to that here in just a second. But first, let's create our database. Now you can put whatever you want in here, and if you make a mistake, don't worry, because they will tell you in big red letters. Click on Create Database, copy this. But whenever you do this, make sure you do not copy that period at the end because that's not part of the name. I'm going to go ahead and paste this on a document that I got stashed away here. That's going to hold the database name, the database username, the database password, and a new database prefix. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's go ahead and paste this right here. It'll all make sense here in a second. Oh, and by the way, this stuff here, these are the username and the password for my WordPress administrator area. Again, I'll get to that here in just a second. So click on Go Back, come on down and create our user, and I'm going to use the same name for my username as I did for the database name. So I just want to copy this guy right here. Now you don't have to, you can name your username whatever you want, but this is just a habit I've gotten into. Now we want to create a strong password, and I do that by using the password generator. Copy this, check that box saying that you did copy that, click on Use Password, click on Create User, and I'm going to paste that password right here. And remember, my database name and username are exactly the same, so we're good there. Click on Go Back. Now we need to tie the two together. If you've got multiple databases and multiple users, make sure that you select the proper ones from this drop-down arrow. Click on Add. Click on All Privileges. Click on Make Changes. Click on Go Back. And our database is all complete. Now we come on back up here, make sure our upload is finished. It is. Click on Back to Home. Select that file that we just uploaded. Come on up here and click on Extract. Click on Extract Files. Click on Close. Select that zip file again. Because we no longer need it, let's go ahead and delete it. Click on Delete Files. We are good to go. Now we've got all the pieces of the puzzle put together. We just need to tie them all up. And we do that by opening up our browser. And in the browser bar, we want to type in the URL to our WordPress installation. And in my case, it was in the root directory. So I type in the URL to my root directory /wp-admin/install.php. Then click on your enter button. And this is going to pop up where you then click on create a configuration file. This is going to pop up kind of warning you that, hey, you got to have all this stuff done first, which we already do. Click on Let's Go. Now we want to copy the username, database name, and password into the appropriate boxes here. Oh, and most every single time the database host name will be what is in here. That's the local host. But you do have certain hosting services like One-on-One or GoDaddy where that's not the case. So if you're not sure, go ahead and do this, leave that alone, and then click on Submit. And if you get an error message saying something related to the database host is not correctly named, then contact your hosting service, find out what needs to go in here, and then redo this process. Now I'm also going to change the table prefix here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You can change it to whatever you want. It's just that leaving it in the default WP_ is one more thing that the hackers can use to get into your database and just wreak havoc all over your WordPress site. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it here. And copy the username, database name, and password and put them in the appropriate boxes. Then click on Submit. And if all works well, this is what you're going to get. Click on Run the Install. Now at this point, you want to give your WordPress site a name. That's going to go in the site title area, username, and password. And the email address needs to be an actively available email address because this is where information related to this WordPress site is going to be sent to. For example, visitors that want to send you money or visitors that want to contact you about your WordPress site. This is what they're going to use to contact you at. And the Allow Search Engines box, I always uncheck this upon installation because I really don't want the search engines or anybody else for that matter to see my WordPress site until I want them to. And there's a spot in the administrator area where you can recheck this box later on. Let's go ahead and fill in the blanks. And whatever you put in here in the password and the username, be sure and document them somewhere because you're going to need them to log in here in just a second. And something to consider for both username and the password, you've got these little hints down here below to give you an idea as to what you can and cannot or should not use in the username and the password boxes. Now here under the password, if it's something that's too weak, WordPress will not even allow the installation to take place until it's a stronger password. So keep that in mind too. And then when you get all the boxes filled in, click on Install WordPress, click on Login, and then enter your username and the password that you just created and click on Login. Now at this point our WordPress site is created and we just logged into the administration section of our WordPress site. And that's it. Now if you want to check out what your brand new WordPress site looks like, right up here in the top left corner, click on the title or right here where it says Visit Site, and that'll open up your browser to your brand new WordPress site. And that is how you can manually create a WordPress site. Thanks for watching and you have a great day. This video is going to cover the basic after installation cleanup of our WordPress site. Now most of the actions in this video are optional, but I feel that they're important enough to at least let you know of them so you can decide if you want to spend the extra few minutes to do them or not. Now the first thing that I do is log into my cPanel's file manager or open up an FTP client like FileZilla and go to wherever my WordPress installation files are located. For example, in cPanel, that would be right here under File Manager. And I have my installation files located in my root directory, so they're right here. And the first thing that I do is delete some of these files. The README file, the license.txt file, and depending upon your installation method, if you still have the wp-config-sample.php file, let's get rid of it. That's all of these guys. Yep, I was just double checking there. So these three, delete. And inside of the wp-admin, open that up. There's a couple of installation files in here we no longer need. That would be the installation-helper.php and the install.php. Go ahead and delete those. Now in the wp-content directory, there's a couple of things in here that I usually go into and clean up. Totally up to you if you want to do these or not, but under plugins, I never use the Hello plugin, so I always delete that right off the bat. Select that and click on delete. And in the themes directory, I only use one theme. And there's no reason to have multiple themes in your directory if you're only going to use one theme. That's my 2 cents worth. Many others will disagree, because one of the beauties behind WordPress is the ability to quickly change the look of your WordPress site by altering or activating different themes that you might have already installed. So myself, I just don't like the 2013 theme. The 2014 I'm getting used to, but the 2012 I love. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the 2013 theme, go up one level, go up another level, and right here I'm done. Now then, let's log into, go and get out of my file manager. Now let's go ahead and log into the dashboard area or the admin area of our WordPress site, because there's a few things in here that I want to clean out as well. Namely the placeholders like the default post and the default comment, which will automatically be deleted once you delete the default post. And I want to change out the uncategorized category and the default page, which is the sample page. So let's go ahead and get into our dashboard here, which I've already logged into. And if you're not familiar with how to do that, just type in the address bar up here, your WordPress site's URL /wp-admin, hit your return key, and then a box will pop up asking for your username and your password. Then that'll get you right here. At this point, we come on over here to Post. Just click on Post, click on Trash. Go to Categories, click on Categories, and depending upon the theme of your WordPress site will depend on what you edit this to. And for that matter, you may just wait until you are ready to edit this uncategorized category name, but you should not leave this named uncategorized. It just doesn't look right. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this and change the name to Dog Training. And I've capitalized the first letter of each word here and put a space in between the two. Now I also need to do the same thing with the slug down here. And by the way, the slug is simply a URL friendly version of the name, which means I need to make this lowercase and I need to put a dash in between the two. Just like that. And if you want to put in a description down here, that's totally fine, but I usually do not. Click on Update. Now you can see that's our new category name and Dog Training. And if we go over to Comments, you can see that there are no comments found because it was deleted as soon as we deleted that post. Now under Pages, I want to delete the sample page. And that's it. That's going to bring us to the end of this video on after installation cleanup of my WordPress site. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. In this video, we're going to cover some of the basic security measures that you can put into place for your WordPress site. Now, there's several different security measures you can actually have, but I'm only going to cover some of the basic ones in this video. Number one, no matter how you install WordPress, the very first ID number in the database is going to be an administrator username, and assigned to that is the administrator password. So an added layer of security is to go ahead and create an additional administrator username and password and delete the first one, because any good hacker is going to know that the ID number one in your database is going to be the administrator. And if they have access to that, then they're going to have access to everything on your WordPress site as the administrator. So let's just go ahead and delete that one. The best way to do that is to create a new administrator username and password, delete the original one so there no longer is an ID number one. Another item is to keep everything up to date. Your WordPress version, your plugins, your themes, anything related to the makings of your WordPress site, keep it as up to date as possible. Now that said, whenever a brand new full version of WordPress comes out, like a 3.8 or a 3.9 or a 4.0, you may want to hold off for at least a few days before you go ahead and upgrade to that brand new full version, because there may be some lingering bugs between that new version and some of the plugins or themes that you have activated on your site. So go ahead and give it a couple of days to let other people encounter those problems and get them fixed before you encounter those problems and have to deal with them. And it's really important to do a full backup of both your files and database on a regular basis. How regular? Well, it depends on how often you add content or how active your site is. If it's something that you add content to on, say, a weekly basis, then maybe a weekly backup of both files and database is fine. If it's something like a very active membership site that you have brand new members coming in every day and brand new content every other day, then you might want to consider a full backup of files and database on a daily basis. Now, as I had mentioned earlier about keeping things up to date, if for some reason you are just in love with an older version of WordPress, well, keep this in mind. Hackers are very aware of the vulnerabilities of older WordPress sites. So if you are going to be sticking with an older version, then what you need to do is to erase any and all footprints of that version. In other words, WordPress lets everybody know what version of WordPress you're using. For example, if we were to right-click on your WordPress site, and I'm using Chrome browser, by the way, so if you're using a different browser, Internet Explorer, Firefox, whatever, then you might have a different language to get to what I'm about to show you, and that is the page source. So I right-click and then left-click on page source. That opens up all the coding stuff for your WordPress site. And as you can see, there's several spots in here that tell you the version of WordPress that you're working with. And it also tells the hackers, oh, okay, that's version 3.2. So all I have to do is just look in my little book of break-ins and see what hacks are available for version 3.2. Boom. So what you need to do is, again, if you're sticking with an older version, is to remove all of these little telltale signs of what version of WordPress you're using. Now, there's a few different methods out there, and really only one method covers all footprints. Some methods will require you to delete a certain something in the header.php or something to add to your functions.php that will eliminate this meta name generator. Well, you still got things like the RSS feed that, if not eliminated properly, those RSS feeds are still going to be showing the versions. So what I'm going to show you is a way to eliminate all footprints of what version of WordPress your site is. So let's go ahead and do that first. Now, anytime you're messing with code, let me go ahead and close this guy out here. Anytime you're messing with code, you really should have access to a file manager through a cPanel type control panel or an FTP client so you can access these files just in case the edits or the additions to your file that you might be doing inside of the dashboard area. For example, under Appearance, under Editor, you can edit all these files right here, and the function.php file is the one I'm going to be editing. But if we do all this stuff within this page right here, which is just fine, but if something goes wrong, then you're no longer going to have access to this page because you just broke your site. So if that happens, don't sweat it. As long as you have access to these files outside of your WordPress site, like through a file manager in cPanel or through an FTP client, then you're good to go. You simply access that broken file through one of those means and fix the problem. Whether it means going to your desktop and uploading the original file to overwrite the broken one, or just fix the broken one. However you do it, you won't be able to do it inside of this page here. So that's why anytime you edit your files or customize your files inside of WordPress, make sure that you have an out. Make sure you have a plan B. Another thing about editing or customizing code, ideally it should only be done in what's called a child theme. But that's the makings of a different video. So for the time being, I'm just going to do all the editing right inside of here. So let's go ahead and tackle that one first. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the theme functions or the functions.php file right here. And I do have my cPanel control panel open right here just in case. I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom of this page to enter the new code. And you don't have to worry about pausing the video and trying to copy all this stuff down. I'm going to include this code along with this video, so it's just a copy and paste type thing. Scroll back down here and then paste. And right here I'm going to click on Update File. And by the way, this is theme specific. So if you have a few different themes installed and you do this addition to one of those themes, it's not going to be the same with your other themes. So if you regularly switch from one theme to another, then you want to do the same thing on all the themes. Update file. Nothing's broken. So far so good. Let's come on back here to our front page, refresh the page, right click and left click on View Page Source. As you can see, all those items up here where version 3.9 was showing are not showing any longer. So all footprints are gone. So that's probably one of the more important security measures. Again, only if you're accustomed to using an older version of WordPress. If you regularly keep your WordPress site up to date, you really don't need to mess with this at all. So let's go ahead and do the first item I had mentioned, and that's create an additional username. Now, first off, let me show you what I'm referring to. If we go to our cPanel control panel, come on down to our databases panel and click on PHP My Admin. Come over here and open up our database. Click on users. You can see right here we only have the one user in here right now, but ID number 1. That's what the hackers are going to see, and they're going to have access to everything that this guy has access to, and this being the administrator, well, they have access to everything. So let's go ahead and eliminate that problem. And close this out. Come on back to our dashboard. Come on down to users. Come on up here and click on add new. So let's go ahead and fill this in real quick. And then come on down here. And if you want to send the information to the email address you have entered up here, then go ahead and check that box. But since that's a fake email, I'm not going to do that. But you want to definitely make sure that under role, you've got administrator checked. Click on add new user. Now then, let's go ahead and log out and then log in under this one. And now we're going to log in as the new administrator. Come on back to users. Now you can see since we're logged in as this administrator, we no longer have the delete function here, but we do here. Let's go ahead and click on delete. Click on delete all content. Confirm deletion. Come on back to our cPanel control panel. Go back into our PHP My Admin. Open up that database. Click on our users. Now you can see ID 1 no longer exists, just the one brand new one we just added. And last but not least, we're going to be covering in this video is doing a full backup. Now there's several ways you can do this. There's several plugins that can do this. But remember, whatever you do, what you're wanting to accomplish here is a full backup of the database and the files. So a good way to do this is to, number one, have a folder on your computer that is dealing with this particular WordPress site. And inside of that folder, have another folder titled Backup, so you can have all these things backed up to that one folder. So I'm inside of a file manager here. You can do the same thing through an FTP client. I'm going to go ahead and click on Select All, click on Compress. I'm going to select Zip Archive. Some of these other ones are actually better, but for the sake of this video, Zip's going to be just fine. I want to give it a name, and the name I want to give it is going to be the date for this particular backup. Click on Compress File. Click on Close. Select that compressed file, and then click on Download. Navigate to the location where you want that to be. Click on Save, and you have your full backup of just your files. So now then, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this and delete this. Now you want the backup of your database. Let's go ahead and close this guy out. Come on back down to our PHP My Admin. I should have done this earlier, huh? Open this up, and you want to make sure that this database is selected. Come on up here and click on Export, and everything by default is going to be just fine. Click on Go. I would go ahead and leave this name exactly the way that it's being downloaded, but I would put this in a folder with the same name of the file backup. So in other words, I would create a new folder. That way you know this particular database backup goes with this particular file backup. Eliminates any confusion 6 months down the line when you need to put these guys back in place because your site got broke. And that's it. That's how easy it is to do a full backup of your WordPress site, both files and your database. Close this out, and let's head on back to our website here. Now, there are many more security measures that you can put into place to help keep the bad people out, like installing, activating, and configuring the free iThemes security plugin that used to be called Better WP Security, or BWS. But for now, the items that I covered in this video will help keep your site safer than the sites that do not have these basics in place. That's the end of the video on basic WordPress security. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video is going to walk you through a tour of your WordPress dashboard. Now, the WordPress dashboard is the central location of all the content management features in your WordPress site. You get there by typing into your browser's address bar up here the URL to your WordPress site /WP-admin. Then go ahead and hit enter on your keyboard. and then you're going to be prompted to add your username and password in a little box that pops up here in the center. Then whenever you do that, you're going to be brought to a page that looks similar to this. Now along the top here is your admin bar, and it has several different links to various parts of your WordPress site. Over on the far left, you've got this icon here for WordPress, and if you hover over that, you get this little drop-down menu. Next to that is the title of your WordPress site and a little house looking thing. If you click on that or this link here that says visit site, that's going to take you to your main page of your WordPress site. Then next to that, you can access comments. Then next to the comments link, moving to the right, you have the new link where you can add a new post, new media, that's like videos and images and such, new page, and new users. These can also be accessed over here in the far left column, otherwise known as your main menu. But getting back up here to the far right on your admin bar, you have your name or whatever name you're logged in as, and to the right of that is your gravatar or the image that represents this name that you're logged in under. And in this little drop-down box here, you've got a few features. Whenever you hover over your name, that'll take you to your profile page. Likewise with this guy here that says edit my profile, just click on that. It'll take you to the same page. And then here we'll log you out. Now here in the middle, we've got the various modules that can be moved around or even removed by clicking on the Screen Options tab up here at the top right. And by removing the check mark in these boxes, we'll remove these various modules. For example, at a glance, this guy right here, untick that, poof, it's gone. WordPress news, you don't want to know about the news, uncheck that, poof, it's gone. And likewise, you just add the check back into the boxes and they will reappear, just like so. And if we go ahead and click off of the Screen Options tab, you have the Help option over here, and this is page specific. So you can click on this, and this gives you specific information related to the dashboard area. You'll also have this Help tab up here in the top right on these other items here that are specific to that particular item. For example, if we go to the Post page, come on up here to the Help tab, these items here are going to be more related to the Post section when it comes to helping answer any questions. Whatever you see on this Help page here might be different than what you might see on, say, the Appearance page Help section. This is more related to the themes. So now if we take a closer look to the main menu over here on the left, you see the various titles here and the little flyout menu whenever you hover over these items. Being brand new to these, they might not mean a whole lot to you, but you'll get accustomed to them over time. Post, just like it sounds, that's where you add a new post. Now whenever you click on this link here, the flyout menu pops down below that item. And you can still access each and every one of those links just by clicking on them. And then moving on down, we've got media. That's where you can add things like images or video or audio files, pages, comments, and appearance. That's pretty important because that's where you can add and customize the various looks or themes of your WordPress site. Along with that, you have access to various widgets, menus, header, background, and editor. Plugins adds a ton of additional functionality to your WordPress site. Users, that's where you can go in and add additional users or access current users or even access and edit your own profile. Tools, and under settings, a lot of cool stuff in here, but that's the makings of a different video altogether. Now I also want to mention that you can collapse this menu to where it's just showing those icons that were to the left of the menu items. So if you want more real estate here in the center, go ahead and collapse that. Otherwise, just click on what looks like a little video play button there, and it will expand that back out to full size. And that's a tour of your WordPress dashboard. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video will explain the difference between a WordPress post and a WordPress page. Now, of the two, the post is by far the most important. Now, let's back up to the beginning. The post has been around since WordPress first began, and the page was not introduced until version 1.5 back in 2005. You see, with version 1.5 onward, you could now create static pages like your contact page or your about page that are not part of any blog post. And here's a couple other differences between the two. Pages are a one-off content holder, and posts are a series of content within a WordPress site that can be related to one another or not, but are by default shown in reverse chronological order, meaning the most recent post is at the top and the older posts are below that. And pages can be parents or children of one another, but posts cannot. Posts, however, have tags and categories, but pages do not. And by default, you can use custom page templates, but you can't with posts. Posts have different post types, static, video, audio, depending upon the theme that you're using, and pages do not. And you can create as many different pages as you want, just like posts, and posts show up in your RSS feeds, but pages do not. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on the differences between your WordPress post and your WordPress page. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a WordPress page. And you do that by logging into the dashboard area of your WordPress site. And if you aren't currently logged in, then you want to put the URL to your WordPress site up here in the browser bar, followed by a /wp-admin, hitting enter on your keyboard. Then a box for your login credentials will pop up. Enter that stuff, click on login. Then once you're logged in, come over to the left main menu. And when you hover over the pages link, you're going to get this little flyout menu that lists all pages or add new. Now if you click on all pages or the pages link here, they'll take you to the same page, which is a list of all the pages that you've already published or those that you've started to publish but are currently in the draft stage. But right now let's check out the add new tab, which brings us to the page editor, where you can enter a title and the content for the body for your page. And you can add content here in both visual or text. The text option basically just shows you the text version, like the source code version of what you've entered in the visual, if you're going to work that way. Totally up to you how you enter the information. And you've got a few other options up here in screen options that will show more or less features on your editor page. If we just check that out, I'll show you. You can toggle on or off various features, and they'll automatically show up or be removed if you enter those checks in those boxes. You see here now you've got discussion, where you can toggle on or off to allow comments or trackbacks and pingbacks. And I think I'm just going to leave those off for demonstration purposes. And click on that to close it up. And you've got a page-specific help section for your add new page. And let's go ahead and add a title up here. And of course, this should be related to the body of your page as well. And you'll see that you've got various formatting options here that are pretty much the same as other document creation programs. I'm going to go ahead and copy some content from a Word document and paste that in here by using the keyboard shortcut keys on my Windows operating system. It's holding the Control key down on my keyboard and hitting the letter V as in Victor to paste that in here. Now, whenever you do this from a Word document, then it's automatically going to copy in all of the formatting. So you can see here that's the link and the bold text, and we can see that further by checking out the source code by clicking on the text tab. You can see it's got all the source code for the links and the bolding. But if I didn't want that, if I just wanted to be pasted in the body area here in plain text mode, then let's go ahead and delete this. Then I would paste that content using this button here to paste as text. Go ahead and click on that. You get this that'll pop up one time saying that from now on, everything that you paste in here, whenever this mode is toggled on, will be done so in plain text mode. In other words, it's going to strip out all that formatting. Go ahead and click on OK. And you can see that it's toggled on because of the little border around there. Now it's toggled off. Now it's toggled on. And I'm going to paste that same content in here. Only now it's done so in plain text mode. And if we check that out using the text tab, you can see that all that formatting is gone. Now you can add formatting just by selecting whatever you want to format and then just choose from the appropriate formatting option up here. And if you wanted to add some type of media like an image or a video or an audio file, then you do that by simply putting the cursor in the body area of wherever you want that media to be added. Come on up here and click on Add Media. Then you can select from existing media, or you can upload media from your computer, or you can insert that media from a URL, or you can simply drag and drop that media right into here, like so. And you can tell what media is going to be added to that post by the check mark up here in the top right corner of that item. Then simply click on Insert Into Page, and there it is. And you can format this further by simply selecting the image and choosing whatever formatting option you want up here. Now over here to the right, You've got your publish module where you can either move it to the trash can or you can publish it. You also have some other options here where you can save it to draft. You can change the visibility option from everybody being able to see it to making it, for example, password protected or private so nobody can see it. And if you make a change here, be sure to click on OK for that change to take. And you can also change the publication time from immediate to some point in the future. If you change any of this stuff here, click on OK, then this publish button will change from publish to schedule. Then you would just click on the schedule button to schedule that future publication automatically. We'll click on cancel. Now here below the publish module, you've got page attributes where you can make this page a child of an existing page or the default a parent page. And you also have the ability to use various templates, either those that come with the theme by default or those that you've created yourself and added to this theme. They will all be shown here in the template drop-down area. And you can also change the order in which this particular published page would show up in the menu area. And once you have everything set up the way that you like, click on Publish, and you have the ability to view the page here, or here, or here. You can even preview any changes that you make before it's actually taken place. You have the option to view this before it's even published by clicking the link that was here prior to us publishing it. And if you do make any changes, you can see here where the Publish button has changed to Update. Let's take a look at our newly published page. This is how it looks. And that'll bring us to the end of this video on how to create a WordPress page. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.